Americans are feeling the impact of Russia's war on Ukraine right here at home. Experts say the invasion has exacerbated pre-existing supply chain issues while also creating new ones. Here to discuss is Abe Eshkenazi, CEO of the Association for Supply Chain Management. That's a nonprofit that calls itself the global leader in supply chain innovation. Thank you for being with us, Abe. One of the biggest ways we're all feeling the pinch is, of course, at the pump. Gas prices reaching a record high last month. My question to you is, where are we now and where are we headed?
I think we're all feeling the pinch of the higher gas prices today. But it's important to remember that this is a supply-demand challenge. If we go back to the beginning of the pandemic, when we were all locked down in our homes and really restricted in our travel, we saw a significant decrease in demand for oil. Obviously, the producers and the suppliers reduced their production in response to this reduced demand for it. As we've seen with restrictions being lifted and a lot of people just getting out and traveling quite a bit more, the demand has increased exponentially and a lot farther than we had anticipated. So right now, the supply is not meeting the demand from the consumers as well as from organizations, logistics, transportation costs. But we also have to recognize, as you just pointed out, the war in Ukraine is going to have a long-term impact on fuel and availability across the network. But right now, we're seeing an imbalance between supply and demand.
It's unfortunately seems to be a perfect storm. Not only do you have the pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and also now there's an avian flu outbreak, one of the worst that the U.S. has seen in 7 years. That is leading to egg prices rising, I believe, by 52%. How long do you expect those price increases to last?
As we've seen with other shocks to the system, this is probably more temporary than we've seen in more systemic issues on supply problems. We've dealt with disruptions before. This is not new. Supply chain professionals and the producers and manufacturers, as well as the retail facilities, will be able to, withstand this short-term hit. Obviously, when we're talking about availability or affordability of products, I think that's where we're going to see a challenge. As food prices increase, individuals may choose lower quality or different varieties of food. So this is not really a question of availability. It is a question of affordability. But I think a longer-term question or a much bigger issue is food scarcity. While it may not be specifically within the United States, across the globe, food scarcity is becoming and a growing issue for almost every country.
And do you see this ending? How does this get better? What are the choices? What are the things that lawmakers can do, that individual private businesses can do? What can we be doing collectively and individually to get through this and see prices go down and access be available for all?
Yeah, really a great question. We have to remember that as consumers and patients alike, we drive supply chains. We need to focus more on visibility and transparency within our supply chains. We were caught off guard as a supply chain relative to responding to the demand shifts and the surges. Our hope is that as we come into or out of the recession, as well as this inflationary time period, that individuals recognize that we don't have a scarcity problem within our food system. We may have an affordability problem in individuals choosing maybe lower nutrition or different types of foods, but we don't have an availability problem. What we really need to focus on, not only from the food scarcity globally, but is on just in case. We built a system that responded to just in time. What we didn't build a system was to respond to the types of shocks that we're seeing in the system, as well as the frequency and the duration of these shocks to this system.
Well, Abe, you have been a wealth of information. We appreciate that valuable perspective. Abe Eshkenazi, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.